Well, they've now identified the two victims that were shot at close range by the Palestinian attacker. They are two brothers, aged 22 and 20, who were from a nearby settlement. It's worth noting this is the second set of brothers killed in Palestinian shooting attacks and car rammings in just the last few weeks. So a tragedy for that family. But beyond that, essentially, the defense minister has now announced that he is reinforcing troops in the disputed West Bank after this attack. Israel had been bracing for some kind of reprisal attack from Palestinians following that deadly military raid last week that killed 11 Palestinians, 8 of them militants, but 3 of them civilian, innocent bystanders, all of them over the age of 60. So we see the cycle of violence continuing. The manhunt is underway for this assailant who apparently rammed the Israeli car first and then got out, shot them at close range, and fled. And this all happened on right off the main highway that goes through the disputed West Bank, Highway 60, in a Palestinian city called Hawara, which has been really a very contentious place for certainly this last year, where there have been a number of even fights between settlers and Palestinians. It's a very tense location. And apparently this Palestinian gunman taking advantage of a kind of traffic jam to carry out his attack. It is believed that he is a member of the Lion's Den, that is a new Palestinian militant group that is based in Nablus. And this attack shows us once again that the Palestinian Authority is really unable, and some would argue unwilling, to really crack down on this militant group in Nablus. And, ironically, this was one of the issues that it's being discussed today in Jordan with top U.S., Egyptian, Jordanian, Palestinian, and Israeli officials, how the Palestinian police and the Palestinian Authority can regain control of Nablus and Jenin, where a lot of these attackers are based.
Well, as you mentioned, these talks in Jordan today, trying to calm the spike in violence before the holy month of Ramadan, that's in about a month's time. But as you suggest, the cycle of violence seems to be on an upward trend. So what hopes are there of reaching some kind of solution?
Right, that's a good question. Well, in a first, the Americans, the White House, the Biden administration, has put on the table a kind of plan for upgrading the Palestinian police force, adding more troops and more training, and putting forth a kind of phased plan whereby the Palestinian Authority would go in and try to arrest and root out some of the militants there. Israel's argument has been, it doesn't appear that the Palestinian Authority can control this area, and that has proven to be deadly for Israeli civilians, not just soldiers, and not just in the disputed territories, but in Israel proper. Some of those initial attacks almost a year ago took place in the suburbs of Tel Aviv or in southern cities, not in the disputed West Bank. But it's going to take a concerted effort, not only by the Americans, but by the Netanyahu government and the Palestinian leadership to work together. They have committed to meet again after this meeting in Aqaba, which wrapped up a short while ago. And they're working on reviving the security cooperation between the Palestinian Authority and Israel, which was cut after a different raid a few weeks ago that also killed a number of Palestinians, and among them some civilians. It's worth noting that the Palestinians, the security cooperation has not been completely cut, but it also is not operating as it once did. So that is they're trying to get that back on track before Ramadan, because as Ramadan and the Jewish holiday of Passover overlap, there will be at the same time thousands of Israeli Jews praying at the Western Wall, which is, abuts the Al-Aqsa compound, that shared holy site, and it can get it can start very violent clashes there. That's what they're trying to avoid.
Okay, we'll be paying